Welcome back to the Habitual Thinker. I always have a special guest, but I have a very special guest today, Marian. We go back. I can't really go into the details of all of her accomplishments, so I'll let her introduce herself.
Oh, wow.
And we'll just have a great conversation. We'll
Okay.
touch on many topics. You see the U-Dope is here. You already know the vibes here. We're going to talk on that. But yeah, we're just going to have a good conversation today. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the Habitual Thinker.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I been see what you be doing, and I'm like,
You've been checking it out?
When is it going to be my turn? No,
We're here.
I know. I'm very happy to be here. We go way back. And I'm an open book. So when you asked me to do it, I said yes.
Appreciate it. Give like a high level overview of your accomplishments, like career wise, and what you do. You wear multiple hats.
I do. Okay. Yeah. All right. So hello. I am the co-founder of University of Dope. It is a disrespectful party game for hip hop lovers. And yeah, here it is here. We founded the game in 2016 on a whim. My co-founder, AV, she asked me if I could name all the members of Wu-Tang Drunk. Of course I can. Don't test me now, though, right? And we thought it'd make a fun game, so we created it. And then ever since then, it kind of just blew up on its own organically. We have a very grassroots following. And then since then, now we are in Target stores nationwide. Just this one right here, the main one here. We've since made a couple expansion packs that are going to be able to fit inside the box. I'm also the, small business director for the Hartford Chamber of Commerce. So I help small businesses in Hartford also scale up if they have any issues. So I love small business. And I'm also into real estate too. But that's like its whole other arm and animal. But yeah, I have multiple streams of income because I'm afraid of failure. We'll get into that.
I love it. Again, I knew I wouldn't be able to do that justice. Created a game. You're in Target. We'll dig deeper on that. But I want to go back a little bit. You got all these things that you've accomplished, things that you're doing now at a very young age, right? How does that? I guess when you're young, right? We always think about, like, people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like when you think about when you're a kid and what your aspirations were, how does that match up to where you are now?
It matches up because I couldn't just choose one thing.
Okay.
I couldn't just choose one thing. You asked me and I was like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a fashion designer. I said lawyer, fashion designer, interior designer. And I couldn't quite put my finger on what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My daddy was an entrepreneur. He had his own accounting firm. I knew that, like, eventually I don't want to work for nobody. So it translates to now because obviously, as you heard, I wear many hats. I'm always trying to figure out what the next thing is going to be or what's the next thing I can invest in. I just want to be the ruler of, like, my own day.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, like, when you were young, or maybe that's when you were in school, were you like the kid that was like, going to Costco buying candy and then like selling them for sale? Like, were you that kid? Or
so yes, I was that kid. It wasn't candy.
And I didn't know that. Like, but I think about stuff like that.
It wasn't candy though. So back in the day, oh my God. So I got into music early, right? Like, I love music. I grew up in a town where there weren't many Black people, so like I didn't have that many friends, right? So like music became my friend, and I was the only kid because my dad had like a lot of money at the time. He owned his accounting firm. Everybody used him as an accountant. So I was like the first kid on the block that had like a CD player.
Oh,
yeah.
The non-skip,
right? The non-skip. And then I would buy CDs and then I would make mixtapes and sell the tapes.
Mixtape era. Oh.
And then it turned into burning CDs. So I would like make my own mixtape CDs, like, and burn CDs and sell them regularly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you be making the mixtapes, go to school, and then I got that new flyer.
Yeah. Pirating was big. Napster and them was big. So I had a job. So like I'd have my own disposable income. I would buy those huge packs of blank CDs and whoever's album I could make. Sorry, don't put me in jail now. I'm done with that.
That's your limitation, right?
But I would make like mixtapes and sell those. So it was a time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So after like that mixtape era, like when you're, probably getting to college, just like that, I'm sure you still had that burning desire to create something.
Hell yeah, I became a DJ.
Okay, talk us through that. What was your DJ name?
DJ Styles at the time, and then from Styles it went to Skinny B, which I was on a dance team as well, and
we got those pictures too.
I know. I was on a dance team.
You might have to send me that for the content. We're gonna like clip that in right here with you making your silly pose.
So I was on a dance team, and Monique, the comedian, was big at that time. And she was like, "Skinny bitch is this and skinny bitch is that," and I like, just like the N-word, like I reclaimed it. You know what I mean? And I was like Skinny B, but I spelled it like B, like buzz buzz. So there was a radio station on Central's campus. Shout out to CCSU, and I saw these Jamaicans in there killing it on vinyl, and I was like, teach me the ways.
Yeah.
So they taught me how to DJ. And at the same time too, I used to throw parties in college too on Thursdays. So like I had a whole little entertainment crew, and we would throw parties as well. Again, I dabbled in a lot.
Wow. Yeah. So parties, got the CDs, DJ, parties. Now you was making money off these parties?
Yeah, I had to. I needed it to pay for books. Like I was poor at the time. So like I went from a time where, my family got it to like rock bottom. So everything that I had to get out the mud like myself. My mom couldn't help me. She wanted to, you know what I mean? But she had to just worry about like the essentials, roof over head, food in stomach, like clothes she couldn't even do. I had to get my own clothes, everything. It was kind of a struggle at the time. But I mean, I already had a hustler spirit, but it like enforced the hustler spirit of I have to do it myself. I got to get it myself. If I want it, I got to get it myself.
It was like out of like a necessity. So like you said something, you said you went from having it to not having it. Can you talk me through, and you can go as deep or light as you want to into that?
Yeah.
You talk me through what happened there and then what that felt like. Like,
oh my God. Yeah. Listen. So from having it, like my mom and dad, I wouldn't say happily married, right? Married. And he actually went to prison for embezzlement. So he used to obviously do taxes, and he was helping a couple of friends out and embezzled a lot of money. And he went to prison, and while he went to prison, like nobody helped us. We lost our house, everything. Wow. Yeah, we were poor. I had to move in with my grandma. Well, technically my grand aunt. Her grandson, his pregnant girlfriend, my mom, my brother, and then another cousin. It was like 6 or 7 of us in this house. And we just hit rock bottom. And then my mom actually was like, look, I'm like, there's more bottom. Like, she's like, if you think this is bad, there's more bottom, but I need you to get it together. So she was like, I'm going to, because she was working double shifts. She was like, I'm gonna go back to nursing school. Yeah. And she was like, that means I can barely work and go to nursing school. So you, Marian, need to learn how to you need to take care of yourself. Like, I can't tell you to do your homework. I can't check your homework. I was 16, and then 17. And then I even helped her. So I had a job at Kmart, very first job. I saved up all my money so I can give to her so we can move out of my grand aunt's house and move into another housing project just on our own. And she went back to nursing school, and she was making like $300 a week for eat. Wow. Yeah. So it was very much like, take care of yourself as best as you can until I make it there. Yeah. And then she got out of nursing school. She got a really great job. And she was like forever great. She took me on like an all expensive paid trip to Disney World. It was like fantastic, but we hit rock bottom and we stayed there for quite some time. And even though she just got out of nursing school and got a great job, she still had like a tremendous amount of debt that she had to pay back from my father's doing. So we were still kind of in the mud, and I went to college and I was just like, I got it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I just told her like, I got it. It's fine.
So you went into college with that mindset.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, yeah.
The only way to go is up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to hone too much on that, you just said something around like nobody helped you. Was it like because of what he was doing, or it was just that you just didn't have that kind of relationship with like family, or?
So I'm from Ghana, right? So I have an African background.
You're born there?
No, I was born here. It was funny. I was born in Yale, New Haven, and then
Elm City. Shout out
to Elm City.
Pop.
And then we actually, as soon as I was born, I would say a few months in, we moved to Ghana. So like my early memories, I had no memories of the United States. I only knew Ghana up until I was about 7, right?
Okay.
And then from 7, that's when we moved back here to the United States, moved to Connecticut. And now I think it was a culture shock for me. That's the most white people I've ever seen in my life. I was like, what in the world?
Because you kind of, most of your memories as a child, you grew up there and you're coming back, coming here.
Exactly. Yeah. So I grew up there. Well, I'm sorry, what was the question on that?
No, I think I just asked, like, you know, I kind of went off on the tangent.
Oh, yes. I remember now.
Were you born
here?
The
village, right. Yes. Back to the village. So Africans are very strong on not being a disgrace to your family.
Yes, yes, I got you.
And what my dad did was indeed disgraceful.
Yeah.
So I felt like the village that was around us here, even in Connecticut, we have a high African population here, like didn't want to be associated with us. Family members who my dad helped, you know what I mean, was giving money to and whatnot. Nothing. When I mean it was nothing, radio silence, the community didn't rally around us. None of that. Like we were by ourselves and we had to fend for ourselves at that point. And it sucked, but it also gave me like a real true look on how society will embrace you and how they'll drop you the minute they feel like they on some Shikari shit. Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they'll embrace you one minute, they'll drop you
but that helps you bounce back.
Exactly. So
Yeah, that's thanks for sharing that. Like I think, you know, we go through things. First of all, I don't believe in coincidence. So I believe everything happens for a reason, whether we understand it at the moment or not. So like that happening, while it may not have been the best thing, you know, what we have thought at the moment, is look what it birthed
for sure.
Look at the mindset that it birthed out of it. Do you think like that chip on your shoulder is really just kind of driven you and still drive you to this day?
Absolutely. It almost sometimes can be a hindrance too, because there are other times where I need help, like I need it. And I'm so stuck on there's nobody around me to help me when there is, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a really annoying thing. You have to like kind of fight it, like just ask for the help, like just ask for the help that you need. But because I know I've been like abandoned before, I just have I have to break out of the mindset. Like these people are here to help you. Like if they are here, they will. You just have to ask. You know what I'm saying? So it is something I have to combat. But it is also like a chip on my shoulder that I learned how to be the jack of all trades. Like I'm going to figure it out by all means. If I have to learn it, if I have to job shadow, if I have to whatever, I'm always like, let me try to figure this out on my own first before I ask for help.
And that's something that's funny you say that. That's something I talk about is like a survival mindset. While like a survival mindset helps you stay alive in your surroundings, once you're kind of out of that space,
you don't know how to get out of that.
It can be a hindrance because it's like hard to maybe trust people because
absolutely.
I've been through that pain. I don't ever want to feel that again. So I'm gonna keep myself closed.
Absolutely. All those things. Those things.
So like knowing that, like I guess what are some things that you like do or like are intentional about to kind of, you know, be a little bit more or be less closed off to asking for help?
So when I really had to develop like a true entrepreneurial mindset where a true entrepreneur, like a real CEO, the CEO don't know how to do everything in the business. And I was definitely like, learn how to do everything, right? You only got to learn everything to a degree.
Enough to be dangerous.
But you don't have to be an expert at it. And honestly, it's better to just hire the experts. Like know enough so that way when you're talking to the person you're hiring, like they don't swindle you. But you don't have to be an expert in videography. You don't have to be an expert in accounting. You don't have to be an expert in anything. You can really just care about your passion and then get the people behind you, the village behind you that specialize in it to really, really grow. And that took me a very long time. Even with University of Dope, when I was struggling, I hired somebody to do a website. They didn't quite do it the way I wanted it to do it. So I learned how to code. Now, why in the hell would I... Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would I do
saying that? If you know, if you need it done right, you got to do it yourself or something of that nature. I get that,
but sometimes that's a hindrance, right? Because it's only going to be so much that I know how to do. I'm not an expert. So I just got just enough to get my website up and running before I could hire the expert to do what I needed to do. So,
Gotcha. So, and I appreciate you sharing all that. I won't dig too much into there. But so let's jump back to, college, you know, getting your first job. At that point, were you still thinking, I've got to get my own, like, Is your plan to ultimately not work?
Yes.
Okay, 100%. Just wanted to clear that up. So when you, because I reason I asked because when people are in college, it's like you get to college, it's like you got to get that job, that corporate job, and that's what you strive for. Like, what was that like coming out of college, getting your first job, and then still trying to have that entrepreneurial passion there?
I mean, again, I felt like I've been hustling for so long that it was just like natural. You know what I mean? I had a weird college experience too because I went to Central Connecticut State, but then I also like I went to Georgia. I was like, F Connecticut, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll just go to school down there. It's fine, you know? And same thing, it was like I had to hustle, get to know people, network, get branched completely out of my comfort zone. Because I know a lot of people will see me out on the street. People who know me be like, oh, Marian, she's so fun. She's so funny. I'm an introvert. Like,
you're an introvert?
I'm an introvert. I perpetrate so badly.
Hold on. You're going to tell me, Marian, Skinny B,
DJ, party promoter, all
University
that.
of Dope. You're an introvert?
Introvert. Okay, my business partner is the extrovert. She loved being outside.
We know she's an extrovert.
Yeah, you can tell. She loves being outside.
AV.
Shout out to AV. But when I go home and close the door, I'm like, I breathe deeply and I'm like, oh my God, I have to like muster up energy to be social. I have to muster up energy to network. I have to like get out of my head when I walk into a room. I'm like, all right, Marian, get out of your fucking head. You know what I mean? Like, so just talk to the people. I have to talk myself into it all the time.
Being an introvert and then like having to do that because speaking with people that most people fear, like talking to random people and strangers, like people fear that. And as an introvert, that's typically what that looks like. Yeah. Explain that to me. How does that work?
So, just like Beyonce, I developed an alter ego.
Is that the Skinny B when Skinny B comes out?
Skinny B is completely a different person. And it's like, I really have to turn it on and turn it off. So I get to the door and I'm like, you know what I mean?
Here we go.
Like, you know what I mean? And I just try to float in that energy of like what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm always trying to have what I'm trying to accomplish right here. I wouldn't even say in the back of my mind. It's very much in the forefront of my mind. Yeah. So that way when I'm going and talking to people or like setting meetings up or whatever I'm trying to achieve has to be at top of mind so I can be the person that needs to be. Otherwise, I'm in the house reading a book quietly. Like, gotcha. I like silence. I like being alone, all of that.
I think that's going to be a shock to a lot of people because
I know it is.
Maybe people that know you, but like a lot of people that think they knew you or see you out, they're like, oh, she's very social.
Oh, yeah.
When I get home, you're introverted.
Nap because I have to, it's draining. It's draining. And then I overthink a lot too. So even when I get home, I'll think about all the interactions I've made and like think about the conversation that I had. What impact did I leave? What did they think about me? Like weird energy like that. Extroverts don't think that. They just float. They just.
Well, I mean, I think that's great that you highlighted that. Everybody's different way to think, but that overthinking piece, I personally do it as well.
Yeah.
So like talk me through that because that can be a hindrance. Overthinking, like as opposed to like just getting out and trying to set up a game or whatever.
Yeah, I was talking about Target. Target was like obviously really big for us. That's like one of my favorite stores. I always wanted to be in there.
Yeah.
And it's still a small deal. People look at me like, oh, you're in Target, like you some type of millionaire or whatever. I am not.
People said that?
Yo, like it. People thought I had wild amount of money.
I'm not gonna ask you who, but is this people that were already like kind of in your circle, or is these like
half and half? So people in the circle that were like considered friends, and then people who just like know me because obviously I do a lot, right? Yeah. So I had a lot of haters come out of the woodwork thinking like I had it like that. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, it's like they didn't see all the hard work that went to get there. They never do or whatever. And again, I think people always kind of like slept on me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they wouldn't take me seriously when it comes to like business. Cause I am kind of like lighthearted and like make jokes or whatever when you see me out and about. But man, I just wasn't expecting the level of like non-support when, you expect people to like celebrate you and like share with their friends and be proud. You know what I'm saying? When my friends accomplish it,
that's how you are.
That's how I am. When my friends accomplish something.
You see people this way.
When it's like, because to me, it's like, again, African culture, like we want to brag about how dope our friends are doing. 100%. Like we want to brag about our kids. Like, so, my friends' wins are my wins.
Yeah.
And then when I won, I noticed,
Yeah.
I noticed the energy shift
Mm.
on it was just like, oh, congrats. And like dead silence after that, or no congrats at all. And I was just like, damn, I worked really hard for that. I thought we was going to celebrate. Like, that's why I didn't have it. That you want to know, that's why we didn't have a celebration, because I felt that weird ass energy from a lot of people.
You should have did an over celebration.
I probably should have. I got in my head about it. Again, I'm an overthinker. Yeah. But people thought I had it like that. And again, they want to see you win, but not more than them. And I figured out who those people were, which is really sad. It did suck.
I think that's a part of the process, though. Like, that's a part of growth. Like, as you're going through your journey, like, people may have been for this part of the journey, and they just weren't meant to go here.
Oh yeah,
right? They serve their purpose,
and you can't bring everybody. Absolutely true. Like, you can't bring everybody with you. Not everybody's gonna want to come with you. Some people gonna hold you back. Like, the journey isn't for everyone. It's for you.
And you can't let their energy like disrupt you. You can't let that get you down, because it's not, for one, there's nothing good about it.
Right.
And you've got more to go.
Honestly, again, the way, as from my past and how the village abandoned me, my mindset immediately went to that. Like,
nobody's here for me.
No, nobody's here for me. My mind immediately went to that. And then it also was like, you're adding more fuel to this fire. Like, oh, you think I'm a problem now? I haven't even, in my mind, achieved a quarter of what I want to achieve. So, like, if you think I'm a problem now, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for what's gonna come. Like, it really was like, you know what I mean? I wasn't expecting that, but
it's funny you say that.
If you think I'm a problem now, shit.
Wait, give it a couple more years. Wait till 2030.
And if I don't think I'm a problem now, come on now. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
I think that's why we always were cool, and maybe because you always tell the story about how you thought I was like stuck up when you first met me.
did.
I have a similar mindset, because I grew up like an only child. So like I was always by myself.
Yeah.
You know, I had to figure out how to maneuver and navigate and politic with people and all that. So I'm not I won't say introvert, I'm an ambivert. Like, I love being out, but I love my solitude as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm that type of person. Like, I like to see other people win. You know, so like, I think you told me like you was like, oh, you just was there to support. Like, I never felt a reason to not be cheering for someone else, especially that looks like me.
Right.
You know, like,
that's the part.
I never felt that, but I guess that's not how everybody is.
That's not how everybody is. And it's unfortunate that way. You know, I think people really do need to realize, like, a win for one of us is a win for all of us. And then, you know, it's also bringing people up. If you see this person winning and you want to get on that level, like, it shouldn't be jealousy. It should be inspiration. It should be reaching out to see what they can do, or what, you know, any tips or whatever. Like, people don't look at it that way. They look at it as competition, unfortunately.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean, I have my own theories, but why do you think people are like that?
I wish I had an answer for that. I honestly just think it's truly mindset. And maybe the way they're raised. I always say there's, like, you know, there's empaths and then there's not. You know what I'm saying? And empaths can really, like, truly, like, care for others, like, truly. And then there's others that are just like, I'm only caring about me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like true empaths, they're the ones that'll be like celebrating wins with you. When you're happy, they're happy. When you're sad, they're sad. They feel. And then there's other people that are just like, nah, it's just me. I live in my own world. I wish I could say why. Can I know your theory, actually? Let me know your theory on that.
Well, the way I look at everything is that, and again, that's why this whole platform started, the Habitual Thinkers. I believe we're marketed to from the day we're born, whether, you know, it's from our family, you know, the media, things you listen to, what you watch on TV, interactions you've had with other people. That really shapes, like, the way you look at the world. You know, just like how you said when, you know, you were younger, you know, you had that situation with your dad, and, you know, everybody kind of abandoned you all, and that give you a certain way to look in the world. I look at it as, then, if somebody's giving me that energy, I'm not quick to, like, dismiss them. I'm wondering what they went through, what they might have had to deal with. I almost feel bad for people that are like that. It's almost like, you know, there's something must have happened in their childhood, maybe, where they have this, you know, feeling where they can't support others, or if somebody's doing better than them, they don't like it. You know, I just wonder what their story is. You know? So I think a little bit further, like, well, what did you go through?
Yeah, that's really good. I try not to get, like, upset in that manner. Same thing. Like I try to be like, okay, I don't know why they feel this way. Maybe I said or did something, but I am very much a proponent of like, you know, if you feel a type of way, and you're not going to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave you there.
Oh, 100%.
I'm just going to
No, I'm
leave
all
you there.
for that. Like,
Okay,
yeah, don't spend a lot of energy on it, but just don't have, I don't spend energy like, oh, look what they did. Whatever.
That's honestly
love
how
to
I
you,
operate.
and I'm going to keep going. Like,
and that's the thing too. Like, as I'm still talking about these people and the people who like left me behind or whatever the thing, I say this all the time. I genuinely still want them to succeed. I'm never going to not want somebody to succeed. And that's why I'm like, there's two types of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never going to be a time where I don't want them to succeed. Even hell, if they succeed way more than me, they get some millions of dollars, become friends with Oprah. I'm gonna be clapping for you still. You know what I mean?
Just because that person is winning doesn't mean you have to take a loss. I think that's a mindset that people have. Like, if that person did that, then that's just less. There's enough for everybody.
Yes, I was gonna say this world is so vast, and we're on this earth for such a short time span. When you think about like time and how long the earth even been here, it's a blip of time.
Exactly, we're just like a very small.
It's a blip of time. So why would you spend time being negative towards somebody else? You're here for literally like a millisecond in comparison to the rest of the universe. Existence.
Yeah.
Why put energy into that shit?
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting on a lot of points that I think about. Like, at times I'll just be ranting, you know, and that's right. You hit the nail on the head. Like, we're only here for a limited amount of time. Like, how do you want to spend it, right? And your reality really is determined by your mindset, the way you perceive, the way you look at things. So that's why I'm always trying to reevaluate. Okay, could I have done that better? You know, well, I could. I always be better. What I did yesterday was okay. Tomorrow I could be better.
Tomorrow you can be better. Yeah.
And keeping that kind of mindset, your success is limitless.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
This is true.
Well, yeah, I went off a rant there, but
it's fine.
to go back to you got out of college, you got your job. What was that like? Still, with that entrepreneurial, fire there. Like, what was ticking off? Like, what do I got to do next?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it was just, again, survival for me. So it was like, okay, what skills do I have? And how can I make money off of those skills? It's always been, what do I possess that I can monetize? And that's what I've always ran with. Like, okay, you're good at party planning. Okay, you're very organized. You're good at planning. Like, start an event planning company. You know what I mean? Like, that's how, you know what I mean? Like, I just worked with whatever my skill set was all the time, honestly. So even after college, I mean, I DJ'd, I started an event planning company, again, entrepreneurial mind. I always wanted multiple streams of income because I knew not everything is forever. Even University of Dope, this isn't forever. It's not. I'm going to ride it out until the wheels fall off. And then when they fall off, I'm moving on to the next thing. I already have things in the waiting that I'm working on, so it doesn't even feel that way, you know? I can close its doors and continue doing some of the other things I have going on or find another venture. I've always been able to pivot my lifestyle. I think more than others, people get trapped in like where they live, how they're living, the job that they're in, where I'm very much like, if this ain't working,
you have no problem.
This ain't working. No problem.
Cut my losses and move.
And move. Let's sell things. You know what I mean? Like, whatever I got to do to pivot, I'm doing that.
So that's you hit on a top right there. Like, that's scary for a lot of people. Like, that's like, being comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? That's an uncomfortable space to like, get used to doing something and then like, okay, now I'm totally gonna like drop this and go here. Like, how did you develop that mindset? You've always had that, or did that still stem from?
I would say it probably stemmed from trauma. It stemmed from trauma because when you hit rock bottom, right? Like, whatever your rock bottom is, when you hit it, there's two things you can do. You can either stay in it, like, I hate my job, I hate where I live, I hate this, I hate that, and you could just sit in it.
Yeah.
Or you can legit just make one move to do something about it, whatever it is. You hate your job, start looking at other jobs. You know what I mean? You hate where you live. Fuck, nobody's shackling you down to where you're living. You know what I mean? You hate whoever you're around. Nobody is forcing you to be like, you can be the ruler of your whole life. And honestly, that's why I feel like I have no problem pivoting, because I've lived so many different types of lives. Like from, living this lavish lifestyle and, in Rocky Hill to having nothing, a few years later to having a little bit of something, to having nothing again, to having, you know what I mean? I've fluctuated so many times that I'm not even fearful of, like, when I hit a particular place I don't want to be, I don't stay there. I don't dwell in it. Yes, it's depressing. Yes, I suffer from depression and anxieties from time to time. But I know that if I stew in it, it'll get worse. If I don't do anything about it, it'll get worse. And again, I know I'm only here for a short time. I only have a short time to be happy. I'm going to try to find it. Period. Point blank, period.
So what advice would you give to people? Because that's something I hear a lot. And I usually say, like, the only way to get on your feet is to get off your ass. You got to take some action, right? So what advice would you give to people that will give excuses about, I don't like this job and I can't do this because it is. What advice you give to those people?
One change, like the smallest thing. The smallest one step forward, just one step. All you got to do is take one step. Don't think about like how you have to change everything all at once. Sometimes that's super overwhelming. I have an analogy for that too. Yeah, you have an analogy for everything, Fareed. It's too overwhelming. Like, that's too big of a bite for you to chew. Like, take a small bite. You don't like the way your house looks? Rearrange it. Like, you don't like, you know what I'm saying? Take a small step to whatever it is that's bothering you, and then let the steps forward come behind it. Don't think about how you're going to solve all the problems. Just focus on one step and one problem.
I think you hit on a good point there. People get overwhelmed. It's like, I got to do this. It's like, I'm not going to do anything. We go down and take a nap. Just do one thing.
I used to do that all the time.
We've all done it. I'm speaking from experience. So everything I talk about is like things that I personally have suffered from. And like, it took me a long time to get to like, be able to be self-accountable. Like really, because it's uncomfortable. Like, dude, you were just lazy. Stop making excuses. You didn't do that because you were lazy. Like, you didn't. That is tough.
Take away, I hate when people say that they're lazy. You're just overwhelmed. You're just overwhelmed and you need a mental break. And it's okay. You're not lazy. Okay? Take a break. And then on top of that, don't think about, like, again, the whole entire thing. Just take one step forward. And when you do, celebrate that shit. Celebrate that
small
shit.
Wins.
The small wins. I'll make a PowerPoint presentation and be like, I did that shit.
Yo, PowerPoint presentations are not easy.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, like whatever I had to do, like, I have to go through my finances today, and I'll sit down and be like, but when I'm done, I'm celebrating. I'm grabbing a drink. I'm doing whatever it is I need to do to feel better so I can do step 2, step 3, step 4, instead of like wallowing in the other steps, like, oh my God, these other steps I gotta take. I'd be like, nah, I got that done. Boom, check. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna go get this done. Boom, check. And it makes it feel better instead of
it's like the reward system.
The reward
system. Like, give yourself like little trophies.
Give yourself little trophies. You did something good. Go get yourself a little ice cream.
It's like you turned it into a game.
Exactly.
Because that's really all it is. Just turn it into a game.